$10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stretton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stretton Centre on Peachy Road, Manopara? Designed to support growth in the City of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stretton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stretton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stretton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please stand for His Worship the Mayor?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Welcome to tonight's council meeting. And we'll open the council meeting at 7 p.m. I'll call for apologies. I don't believe we have any apologies. I think everybody is present. So we'll go to item 2, confirmation of minutes of the ordinary council meeting which was held on the 26th of May 2026 be confirmed as a true and accurate record of proceedings. Councillor Rentoulis.
Happy to confirm that, Mayor. No need to speak.
Thank you, Councillor Rentoulis. As the item find a seconder, Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
Second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any said changes or comments to the minutes? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour, those against, I declare that carried. We move to item 3, declarations of interest. Are there any? No. Move to item 4, Mayor's report. A number of different items this month. There's been the Northern Business Breakfast, the Positive Futures Expo that was held here, Reconciliation Week celebrations across the city, 10th birthday of the Manapara Girl Guides, a number of different presentations, a morning tea in remembrance of Maurice McCartney, a long-term volunteer at the Grenville Hub, a number of different events for particularly Year 4 and 5s for HAS programs for their school for the levels of government with kids in the council sessions, and a number of other events that are in my report that you can peruse in the minutes. So we'll go to item 5, reports of representatives of council on other organisations. Are there any? No. We go to item 6, reports by councillors. Are there any reports? Councillor Halls.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've got a few things up there, but I'd just like to talk about the Australia Day Australian of the Year breakfast that we went to. The South Australian Honours ceremony celebrated the achievements of James Curry, a pioneer in preserving historical weather data, and Catherine Fennell, Australia's first astronaut trained under the Australian flag. Curry's team of 40 volunteers created a database from 1843 to 1957, crucial for global climate analysis, and Fennell recognised for her contributions to space exploration, emphasised the importance of space for societal advancement and the potential for an Australian astronaut mission. Chloe Wyatt Jasper and Aisha Fayasafadar were honoured for their advocacy in mental health and migrant support, respectively. The ceremony highlighted the significance of historical data design in films and the impact of community leaders. But I would just like to say that it was very interesting. Chloe Wyatt Jasper, she was in a panel that advocates for mental health, and she really showed her motivation to take action on mental health issues. For a young girl that is not even 20, she shared her personal experiences with family trauma and mental health challenges, which led her to become an advocate. She discussed the challenges young people face with mental health, including the stigma of seeking help, and she highlights the importance of supporting young people with mental health issues. So I thought this was a very valuable attendance.
Thank you, Councillor Halls. Any other reports? Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
Thank you, Worship. I also attended the Australia Day breakfast. Unusual. We've normally had a lunch, but this time we had a 7 a.m. breakfast in Adelaide. Catherine Bennell-Pegg, who is the first woman astronaut in Australia, was very interesting, and she enlightened us on how she manages a family as well as training to be an astronaut. So that was a really good one. The other one I want to quickly mention is I attended on your behalf the Bomber Command for the RAF at Torrens Parade Ground, where I laid a wreath on behalf of the City of Playford. There were some really interesting stories from people who were still alive from World War II when the RAF personnel took part in the bombing of Germany. So that was a very emotional morning, and I'm really pleased that I went. It was lovely to talk to some of the people that were involved with all that, and so thank you for allowing me to attend. And I also attended last Thursday night at the Playford Uniting Church, where we had some people from the government talking to residents about the bridge. And there were some very interesting comments, and I'm not sure how many people went on Saturday, but there were 31 there on Thursday night, plus 8 elected members, which was great to see. And we spoke to quite a lot of the residents, and there's a lot of angst against that bridge, but I think it's like a fait accompli. I think it's already done, and I don't think it matters what we say. I think they're still going to go ahead with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smallwood-Smith. As there's no other reports, we've got the information session record of attendance, which we note is in the agenda. We go to item 7, reports of representatives, conferences and training programs. Councillor Halls.
Thank you, Your Worship. It was a very well organised conference. Alison Moore-Wright introduced a session on shared services, emphasising the importance of design, governance and goodwill. Eric highlighted successful shared services in South Australia, citing examples like the Local Government Association's Mutual Liability Scheme and procurement. He stressed the need for clear agreements and local accountability and practical team-based arrangements. Mark and Paul discussed their collaborative model, focusing on trust, mutual commitment and operational efficiency. They noted challenges like staff resistance and the need for clear roles. The session concluded with a panel discussion on the practicalities and benefits of shared services, including cost savings and improved service delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Halls. Are there any other reports? Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the LGA conference in OGM. And to further on with Councillor Halls, I just wanted to make a special mention to the City of Playford for winning the WHS Best Practice Metropolitan Major Award winner for their involvement with the Safe Work Month initiatives in 2025. So well done to the team. That came as a surprise for me. I was not tracking that, so to hear that City of Playford was a major winner, that was really well done. So it was an experience. I've not been to one of those conferences before, so thank you very much for nominating me and allowing me to go and see how the LGA run one of those OGMs. I was able to network and meet other councillors, other mayors and CEOs around South Australia. They came from all over, from Copper Coast, all around to the York Peninsula. It was a really good and wonderful event, so thank you very much. And if you do have the opportunity and you are able to take some days off work, I do highly recommend it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smiljanek. I also attended the Local Government Association South Australian 2026 Conference and OGM. Both members have already talked about a couple of other items, so I won't repeat those, but there was the address by the new minister and also the shadow minister. There was also the Local Government Workers' Compensation Scheme Awards, which Councillor Smiljanek's already spoken about. There was a presentation around shared services and collaboration, which Councillor Halls is already talking about. And there was the OGM, as you would all be aware, as Council's authorised delegate. We had presented to us at the previous meetings the position papers for those items. I voted in accordance with those position papers as they were presented at the OGM. So I'll hand in my training report, but that is my report in relation to the 2026 conference and OGM. Are there any other councillors wishing to make a report in reports of representatives, conferences and training programs? If not, then we'll move to item 8, questions on notice which are nil. We'll move to item 9, questions without notice. Are there any questions? No. We go to item 10, petitions which are nil. Go to item 11, deputations, representations which are nil. Go to item 12, motions on notice which are nil. Go to item 13, motions without notice. Are there any motions? Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Docky. I'll just wait for the motion to come up on the screen. Bring it up. So the motion, while it's being edited, if you don't mind, I'll just talk to it, is in regards to requesting our staff to bring back a report within 12 months in relation to a service review relevant to our footpaths and road maintenance. The first section talks about that our footpath maintenance delivery to look into in-house our concrete grinding that we currently use a contractor for. And that report would look at the associated capital and operational costs. It would look at the requirement in relation to our plant, equipment, training and resources. It would also provide a comparison in relation to the overall benefit to council versus in-house versus contractor. And the second one is in relation to the road maintenance innovation, and this would ask our staff to go out, have a look at technology, work practices in relation to providing repairs to our roadways, more so around potholes. As I'm sure everyone has seen, our road network is failing regardless if it's local or state roads. Potholes are popping up everywhere across our network. So in relation to this motion, it's not talking about that this council will be making a decision, but this council will be the one who leaves a legacy to allow our staff to go off, perform a thorough review. This can fall in line with any other routine service review that the CEO may progress, but it's more defined in relation to current work practices that are used by contractors and bringing them in-house I was actually quite alarmed walking a bit of Blake's Crossing for an area that's, I don't know, 10, 15 years old. The amount of concrete paving that has moved, and we're talking a ½ inch to an inch, is mind-boggling for an area that I still class as being quite a new suburb. I believe if we had our own in-house grinding, it gives the mechanism to adjust our work service to go out there and maybe provide some preventative maintenance or proactive services to our footpaths, waiting for it to get to a Category 5. In relation to the road maintenance, I still question if our current practice is the right practice, but I would love for the next council to be the one to make that determination, that we've gone out, looked at the private sector, looked at other local governments, and we've identified that our current practice, whatever that is today, is the most work efficient, and we get the return for buck. So look forward to, hopefully everyone supports this motion, and I'll look to hopefully see in the near future that the council either chooses to make some changes because it's effective, or if not, they carry on with the service delivery. Thank you.
The item final seconder, Councillor Marsh. Sorry, Councillor Harrison.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Doherty. I commend Councillor Marsh for bringing this forward. I'm regularly out there, and this is no criticism of what we do or the staff, but it's really about, I think, how we can do this better. The potholes in some of our rural roads, I'm particularly aware of. Significant safety risk, and it's a matter of how we manage these better. And then when I'm walking the suburbs, you know, footpaths have been ground. I think we need a better overview on how we can manage it as a whole. So I commend this motion. I think it's a good timeline to do a review and obviously improve how we do things in the future. So I thoroughly support it. Thank you.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Rentoulis.
Thank you, Mayor. Just very quickly, I agree with the sentiments expressed by both Councillor Kerris and Marsh. Yeah, the roads in particular, right across the city, whether they're the state-based roads or local roads, leave a lot to be desired. There are some significant potholes out there, and that's not a criticism of staff. That's just a reality of the situation as we currently find it, very similar to other councils across the state. This motion just seeks to do things better, to improve the situation, and gives our staff ample time to consider the motion, 12 months, to come back to the new council with some recommendations. Thank you.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Craig.
I echo the sentiments already expressed. I know just of late I've been going along the Gawler-One-Tree Hill Road, and I know that's a state road, and I did report it to staff which have relayed it on to the state, but it's really woeful. There's some really deep potholes. It's quite dangerous. You wonder, how can we push the state government to do more as well, as another point.
Thank you, Councillor Craig. Councillor Carlson.
Thank you. I've just got some questions. What would this motion, what would the effect be on staff time, our budget? Is this already part of our day-to-day sort of works anyway? Isn't this something that's has this been investigated by staff already? I understand we've also done a footpath network conditions survey in March, April this year. So is that complete? Have we got the results of that study? Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. Mr. Welsh.
Through the Mayor, so I'll just go through your questions one by one. So the first one was about the time and resources to undertake
Yeah, the effect
this work.
on staff, time and our budget.
There won't be an impact on our budget. We'd use staff time to do this, so there wouldn't be an impact on our budget. I don't know how much time it would take. I'd probably find it hard to answer that question now, other than to say we could do it with existing resources. Yeah,
but it's taking time away, staff away.
Yeah, so the staff would involve, obviously, would be the managers and the quality coordinators involved in the city operations teams. They're the staff that we'd look to utilise to do this review. Obviously, Glenn Carter, Senior Manager of City Operations, he would lead this piece of work. And we would have support from teams like our finance team, our assets delivery team, could we get the condition data, and probably some of our staff in our analytics team as well. So that's how we'd undertake the work.
Okay. Has this sort of stuff with the contractor, contracting services out versus, getting staff to do it? I remember an information session that we've had that had already been investigated and been discussed at the time, especially to that concrete in particular that's in Blake's Crossing. So has this sort of stuff already been investigated?
Just a combination of things. So with our development of the urban design guidelines, we've tried to basically provide consistent treatment levels or treatment types across the city. Our preference is to have concrete as opposed to pavers because they tend to move less now. So we've done that. Glenn Carter spoke last week, we currently contract out our footpath grinding service. We spend about $100,000 to contract that out annually. I don't know if it's a 1 year or 2 year contract, but we could look to bring that internally. So we would do that anyway when that contract expires, naturally look at whether there's benefit of bringing that in. As Glenn highlighted again last week, there are some issues associated with, risk or work health and safety that we need to be mindful of. But we would do that work.
But it would get done anyway?
We would do that work as part of reviewing the contract. I would expect the team to review that and come back with a recommendation to say we should extend this contract for a period of time or we should look to bring this in-house. So I would look to do that work, yes.
Okay. And the footpath network conditions survey, that was over March and April this year, so where's...
I'll just get Janie to provide an update on it.
Ms Mitson.
Thank you. Through the Mayor. Yes, the physical survey was undertaken across March, April. We received the data from that survey this month and we'll begin the analysis of that. So that will inform not the coming one, but the future year's renewal program. And we also, as part of that engagement, get them to pick up all the individual lips and cracks and hazards, which we feed back to city operations for maintenance, which is different from the renewal program.
So it's kind of what we're doing already? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Welsh. Are there any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Van der Peer.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I'm just struggling with this motion personally because from what I'm hearing from staff is this might end up in a bit of a duplication of what's already been done or what does happen naturally. And I want to be really clear when I say I'm not against, coming up with innovative ways to improve, our footpath network and our road network. I don't think anyone in this chamber is. But I just worry from an administrative point of view what this actually achieves. I'm just really struggling to see how this has a material impact on the improvement of how we deliver these services. But, I'm always open to conversations. Like I talk to staff on a daily basis, about potholes and looking at different treatments. And staff have always been really excellent and open in investigating things like that. So I just worry that this might be a bit of a duplication. It might not actually achieve what it sets out to achieve.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Marsh has the right to close if he wishes.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Happy to take on that feedback from my colleagues. At the end of the day, we are the board of the council who sets the policies and the directions for our staff to continue to undertake their roles. At the same time, we also need to continue to provide that clear message to our CEO that if there's a time that we believe that there is an opportunity to either be more proactive, to be reactive, to expand our services that our staff can provide, or if it's further training that we can provide to our staff and it allows us to do more than what we're currently doing, I think we'd be foolish not to move a motion that says to ask our staff in a reasonable time frame that we heard tonight. There's no budget impacts. There's also no staff shortage to undertake it, as they named all the individuals who would be undertaking this review. And it's a further deep dive in asking our staff. There's an opportunity potentially to broaden our services broader than what we are currently delivering, because right now it's a service that we rely on booking something in and not being able to be proactive or reactive or implementing a more stringent. We could probably achieve more when it comes to our grinding. So I think there's efficiencies here, but as I said before, we allow the other council to make that decision. They get the report. It's not the first time that we do these reports that we ask our staff to do. That's our role here as elected members, to do such work, and we ask our staff to undertake. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. We have the motion that's before us, so I'll put those in favour. And those against, I declare that carried. Division's been called by Councillor Marsh, so the motion is to decide those voting for the motion if they can rise in their place. So for the minute taker, that's all members bar Vanderpeer and Carlson. Thank you, councillors. The motion's carried. Are there any other motions without notice? If not, then we go to item 14, committee reports, 14.1, caretaker policy and attachments. Councillor Norris.
Thank you. Look, before I move, I just wanted to quickly ask in relation to possibly changing the year, because we don't know what's happening yet. Is that a minor amendment?
Nothing's been moved yet, so...
Well, I'm just assessing whether we move it as is for 2026 or we have to.
There is technically nothing been moved. So you've got three options. You just move something. You can move a staff recommendation or a committee recommendation. You can't amend anything. So you could say, I'm moving the committee recommendation. However, I'd like to insert this word instead. So it's still the rest of the committee, mainly for the minute taker to cut and paste, and then you can just insert the year.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm happy to move the committee recommendation. My question was obviously just around, because it does stipulate that the Chief Executive Officer... Well, actually, sorry, did we put that in there? Oh, yep. Thank you. That the Chief Executive Officer can make minor amendments, so I'm just assessing whether or not that would be such. In that case, I would happily move it as is. So, do we have an answer to that?
Well, again, you can... Nothing's been moved yet, so you can...
Well, I just said I'm happy to move the committee recommendation.
Yep.
On the basis that we don't have to go back to this, noting that the year, if it needs to be changed, would be a minor amendment.
All I would do is I'd take out the year. So I just say the upcoming periodic election,
and that would still work in the same
because that's still the upcoming. That does mean the upcoming periodic election. Now, whether that's 26, 27, or who knows, that means the next. I mean, or if you want to be absolutely clear, you could change it to the next. Change the word from upcoming to next.
Yep, let's do that. So change it from in respect of the next periodic election. Under the committee recommendation.
Yep.
Perfect. Look, I didn't have too much to say to this. Obviously, it was recently at the Policy Review Committee, and we did have a very robust discussion around obviously what should take place and what our responsibilities are as a council in terms of, I guess, candidates, candidate sessions, etc. And we sort of established that it would be more appropriate for individuals to essentially run their own campaigns, because in terms of trying to get, I guess, everyone on board and make everyone happy with certain times and allocations and that sort of thing, it was just going to be hard to arrange. So in that respect, I think that we look to not hold an information session, which I'm in support of. Obviously, we're now in an open forum with everyone here, so I'm happy to hear everyone's ideas, but I would be moving it as it is.
Thank you, Councillor. Does it find a seconder? Councillor Smallwood-Smith? Are you seconding? Just Councillor Norris, you can hit your button, please. Councillor Smallwood-Smith?
I'm happy to second that, and I don't wish to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
Any
Any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Smiljanec.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I will admit that initially I did consider at least holding one public meeting, because it's my natural instinct to want to facilitate community discussion. However, when you look at the sheer scale of our city, both geographically and the logistical aspects of hosting a single centralised event quickly becoming highly problematic, if not entirely unworkable, trying to fairly accommodate dozens of candidates and thousands of residents in one forum simply isn't ideal. More importantly, our role as a council during the election period is to guarantee a fair, neutral and transparent process. By maintaining that strict arm's length approach, we ensure that council resources aren't inadvertently favoured to one platform or format over another. Passing the baton to the candidates themselves gives them the freedom to engage with their diverse community in a way that best highlights their unique policies and positions, whether that's digital, ward-specific or face-to-face. It encourages that true grassroots campaigning and direct accountability. It's not so much stepping back from our residents, it's stepping back to ensure that a level playing field is for every candidate, and I think that this is actually the most fair and practical way forward, and I do support this recommendation.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, as there's no other councillors, then except bar the mover and seconder, then I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Division's been called by Councillor Halls, so the motion is set aside. Those voting for the motion, can they rise in their place? And for the ease of the minute taker, that's all members voting for the motion, so the motion is carried. We'll move on to item 14.2, Code of Practice for Council and Committee Meetings. Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, I want to move a slightly different motion this evening. If members will turn to page 25, you'll find on there the committee recommendation. I would like to move the part 1 as is, the first dot point as is, and the second paragraph I wish to remove. Motions without notice should be limited to a matter closely related, etc., and insert instead, motions without notice with impact to the budget be referred to a motion on notice at the next ordinary council meeting. And part 2 as is. Okay. Yeah, the reason I'm doing this, Mr Mayor, is that as we've just experienced in a previous motion tonight, which I didn't have a problem with, it makes common sense that if you refer one that has absolute impact to the budget, I'm not talking about small issues that come up from time to time, but the importance of the budget and the annual business plan needs to be understood by both the administration and the elected members. So the reason I'm doing this is so that the item can be referred. It can be referred to our administration, who could look at what the actual motion impacts on our budget and can come back to a report so that all the elected members can be across all of the implications in the motion and the impact that it's having on our budget. Thank you.
Does the item find a seconder? Councillor Norris, are you seconding? Are you seconding, Councillor Norris?
Not quite as is, because she's trying to add a paragraph under remove.
I can't even read it.
So that first section says to remove the first paragraph, which you've deleted, and now you've added in a paragraph that doesn't currently exist in the policy. So you actually need to add it into the policy rather than removing it.
So, no, what you'd say is you remove the first paragraph under motions without notice that reads and insert or replace with the following. And then that's to support the open and all the stuff that's there. So it's just some other words that need to be added to that. So you can do either amend or replace with, it means the same thing. Do you wish to second that, Councillor Norris? Does any other councillor wish to second the motion? Councillor Kerrison.
Yeah, I'm happy to second that, Mayor Doherty. I like to keep things open, and I would like to generally have motions without notice fairly open. However, sometimes we do have things here that come before us without adequate time to consider the financial implications. So I think, you know, being accountable and making good, responsible decisions is important. And I think if something comes here and I'm not over it without notice, there will be times I need more times. You could say I could simply vote it down, but I think as a general business practice, having that informed knowledge for responsible decision making is really, really important. I'm happy to second that, but I do also at the same time have a question, if I may. Previously, we've guidelines for submitting a deputation. We previously had it at 9 a.m. Monday morning, but it didn't specify public holidays. So I just want to clarify, if it's a public holiday, is it still 9 a.m. Monday morning, or is it 9 a.m. Tuesday morning?
Mr. Green.
Through the Mayor, the stipulation would still be the Monday morning.
Great, thank you.
Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So with regards to this council resolution in front of us, I was on the Policy Review Committee, and if you refer to page 47, so page 47 under the motions without notice, we as a committee had recommended to remove that entire first paragraph. Okay, so by amending it now, that second part after the comma has completely changed essentially what we had discussed. So with Councillor Baker's addition of making sure that we're open, transparent and informed decision making, I think that's really valid. And noting that it has perhaps impacts to the budget be referred to a motion on notice, I actually do support that personally. The reasoning why I didn't support originally through the discussions with regards to page 47, it talked about should be limited to matters closely related to items on the agenda, housekeeping matters or matters of urgency. So we removed that because the intent behind removing it, it seemed like it was restrictive to our agenda items. So we were talking about how true, open and transparent decision making means leaving room for the unexpected yet vital community matters to be raised when needed. Hence why that whole paragraph we had decided to remove. So by removing that restrictive language, we can ensure that our chamber remains flexible and responsive. And furthermore, if you read those further two paragraphs on page 47, that remaining text and clarification provides that extra guidance to members. And then that way we can use those formal motion on notice for non-urgent matters. And that way we can ensure that our hands are not tied being so restrictive with this language. So noting that it's been slightly changed and for it, one of the first questions today with the change of for that motion without notice was how was it going to affect the budget? What financial considerations have been thought about this? So I honestly think that that's a really great addition, and I think that would be beneficial in this document.
Councillor Norris.
Thank you. I assume I'm allowed to speak as I was seeking clarification before. Look, I don't have an issue with what Councillor Baker is trying to suggest in relation to budgetary matters. My concern relates to the fact that the paragraph that we were trying to remove essentially states that items need to be related closely to agenda items, housekeeping matters or matters of urgency. By putting that back into the policy, you're essentially saying, well, you can't raise things that aren't sort of already on the agenda. Whilst I understand that budgetary matters then need to go to the next meeting because they need to be investigated, it kind of in my opinion, restricts what we can raise as a motion without notice in an ordinary council meeting. It felt restrictive, and from what we had decided when this came to council last time, this was the very reason that it was voted down. So by removing it, I feel like we're back where we were when we didn't agree on it last time. Yes, your addition is great. I think it makes sense. But by removing that paragraph, I think we're just going backwards.
Councillor Marsh.
You're probably going to say what I'm going to ask a question. Can I seek clarity on Councillor Norris's view in relation to the goalposts are going to be quite small and items must be relevant to the agenda?
Yeah, I think Councillor Norris, you've got a little bit of a mix-up there. We're replacing this with that. So it's not taking out of the item that's there. Mr Green or one of the other governance officers can also add to it, but that would not be the case if that was supported. But Mr Green, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Through the Mayor, councillors, the way I interpret the amendment that's been moved is that the current paragraph 1, which is in the code, would be replaced with this paragraph. So the broadness, Councillor Norris, that you talk about exists. The only restriction would be if it has budgetary impact.
I'll let you seek clarification, Councillor Norris.
Yeah, look, again, I'm taking your word. My interpretation of it is based purely on impacts to the budget. So for me, it's like you can raise things and impacts to the budget will be moved, but it doesn't sort of reference any other scope.
Mr Green.
Well, that's right, Councillor Norris, and that's the intent, as I understand it, that you've been talking about, is to create broader scope and not restrict the ability for elected members to bring forward motions without notice. The way I interpret this is an elected member could bring a motion without notice forward on any topic at the meeting. So any topic doesn't have to be related to the meeting, and the only time that there would be a requirement for the council or a suggestion is that if it had a budgetary impact, that would then be moved from a motion without notice at that meeting to a motion on notice at the following meeting, which would give staff and elected members time to consider the motion's impacts on the budget.
Councillor Vanderpeer.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I just have a question in terms of the implementation of this, and I appreciate we might not have an answer for this yet, but in terms of moving a motion without notice with the expectation it'll be on the agenda at the next meeting, would the elected members still raise the motion at that first meeting and then it would get put on notice at the next meeting, or would we then go to the administration after the meeting and ask for it to be put on the agenda behind the scenes, if that makes sense?
Yes, Mr Graham.
Thank you. Through the Mayor, it's a good question, Councillor. The way I would interpret it is at a particular council meeting, an elected member may seek to move a motion without notice. During that discussion, there would be probably some questions around, does that have budgetary, do we anticipate that will have budgetary impact? If we were of the view that yes, it would, we would advise the council of that, which would indicate that it would then be put on notice at the following meeting. If we felt that it didn't have a budgetary impact, then it could be dealt with and managed on the night. And that would have to be some level of subjective analysis of that. And as always, the more notice we have and the more information we have about what you intend to move, the better we can inform you of the impacts of that.
Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to support the amendment or the change that you've done. I think it is a good governance to lead towards if it comes down to our financial position and our already pre-budgeted allocation. Happy to support it as well, as it's still broad in its context in relation to councillors doing their job and bringing items forward. That we are here to represent our community, so I don't support originally what was in there trying to bring in some red tape and restricting our ability to bring forward items. So happy to support the committee / Councillor Baker's motion that's up there. Thank you.
Councillor Arifi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, my concern with the motion is that budgetary impacts. I mean, you know, a motion might have, you know, an impact on a budget of, you know, what, 5,000, 10,000, which is not significant, but it might be an important decision for the council, and there are times we need to make decisions, you know, urgently, and that's why motions without notice are important. However, I have never seen this council make a decision on, you know, any motions without notice that have had significant impact on the budget. You know, I think we have to look at each motion without notice on its merit rather than put restrictions around what can we move and what can't we move. I think it just diminishes that, you know, you know, the right of the elected member to move a motion, you know, regardless of, you know, the impacts on the budget. But obviously, as a council, we have always been sensible around sticking to our budget and ensuring that, you know, motions, you know, without notices doesn't have significant impact on the budget. I just think this creates restriction, and again, the you know, it will be it could, in my opinion, create an opportunity for people to make political manoeuvres around motions on notice at times, in my opinion, and I think you know, allowing motions without notice, you know, for each member, and everyone has that responsibility that we need to stick to our budget, and we can't just move motions without notice, which has significant impact on our ratepayers. So I'm not comfortable with, you know, putting restrictions on councillors to, you know, what they can, what they can't move, and again, this delay creates a delay for us to get things done. Yeah, I just don't want to put more restrictions when it comes to supporting community.
Councillor Craig.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm a bit torn on this one because I can see the intent of Councillor Baker, but I also take heed of Councillor Arifi. You wonder if a matter is urgent, that we can move a motion without notice if it's a pressing matter, and the merits of it can be considered, and I suppose the cost implications, if there are any, at that time around the chamber we make a decision to defer it to a review or to a further analysis process. Or I just wonder, I do tend to side with Councillor Arifi on this one, that I suppose on the night when a council motion without notice comes to us, it could be considered on its merits at the time, and then we can make the decision, no, there's too much budgetary implication, and we can defer it to another review, another process to consider it. So I'm inclined to side with Councillor Arifi on this one.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Rentoulis.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a couple of questions. I certainly respect the intention of Councillor Baker, what she's trying to achieve here. I do have some questions of our staff. Mr. Green, specifically with respect to Strategy and Services Committee meeting last week, for example, you move a motion without notice at that forum. If this passes, when would that motion come back? Is it the week after at the ordinary council meeting, or a month after that? So do you see what I'm saying? How does this now apply to the Strategy and Services Committee meeting?
Mr. Graham.
Through the Mayor, Councillor Rentoulis, we don't have motions without notice at committee meetings, only at an ordinary council meeting. So it would be from one ordinary council meeting in 1 month delayed to the following council meeting the next month.
So the reason I asked, so what about amendments? So last week, tonight, we considered the inclusion of Odgers Road and O'Loughlin Road in the budget. That was passed last week. That was an amendment at the Strategy and Services Committee meeting. Would this allow that to occur at fairly short notice? I'm worried that if this was in place, that wouldn't be able to be included, amended at the Strategy and Services.
No, what occurred last week was an amendment to a motion, which is very different to a motion without notice. This is restricted. The wording of the motion talks purely about motions without notice. So you could still amend any other motion that you like. This would purely apply to motions without notice.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the clarification.
Are there any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Baker has the right to close if she wishes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The intention of this motion, Mr Mayor, is certainly not to restrict anybody from moving a motion without notice. In fact, I would applaud anybody that has a matter of urgency to move a motion without notice, and that way it pays homage to the actual act that we are working under and also our guidelines. And it's very appropriate if there's anything that's a matter of urgency, particularly if the DICE staff doesn't know about, to move that motion. But it's and certainly what I am hoping for with this budget referral, certainly items of $5,000, that simply does not have any impact on the budget. What I would suggest would happen, if there was a motion without notice, the matter would be debated in the chamber and we would take advice from our administration as to whether or not it does have ramifications for our budget. Should that be the case, then it will be referred to a motion on notice. If it is only a minor item, and that will obviously be discussed, then that can be operated on and enacted in the evening. So there's certainly no restriction to motions without notice for emergency or anything of budget implications, except when we get advised by our administration that it definitely has impacts on our budget and our annual business plan.
Thank you, Councillor. We have the motion that's before us, so I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 9, 5. Councillors, the item is 9.5. The motion is lost under section 6.2 of the Regulations of the Local Government Act. The endorsements of the Code of Practice must be 2/3 of council members present. Council members, and we need 10 votes. So 9.5, so the motion is lost. Division's been called, so the motion is set aside. Those voting for the item, if they could rise in their place. Voting for the item. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so the item in this case will be lost, as we need to have at least 10 votes to be 2/3 as set out in section 6.2 of the regulations. So the item is lost. Councillor Smiljank.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I please foreshadow?
We don't need to foreshadow, you can move something straight away.
Can I please move the committee recommendation, please?
You can move the committee recommendation.
And this essentially removes all doubt, all restrictions, and then the councillors on the night, should a motion without notice be presented, means there's no restrictions and the councillors around here can make that decision on the night whether they either defer it or get a report and have that debate on the evening, depending on the topic. Thank you.
Does the item find a seconder? Councillor Norris.
Yep, happy to second, don't need to speak.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? If no other councillor wishes to speak, we've had the mover and the seconder. I'll just give a moment for the minute taker to get all the item up there, and I'll see if there's anybody else wishing to speak. We're just making sure we have all that item in there. And I'll ask if there's any other councillors wishing to speak now that you can actually see the item. Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Kerrison.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Doherty. Look, I'm probably not going to say anything else, but I thought Councillor Baker's motion was positive. We have had things here before on short notice, and they do have budgetary implications. They're without notice. I sit in my chair, something comes up with a lot of detail, and sometimes those things need due consideration, and sometimes you're asked to consider all that on the spur of the moment. And yes, you can simply vote them down, but I think some of those topics need due consideration in respect of our community, in respect of responsible decision making. So I think that was a positive motion for us to reflect upon, and I think it's an improvement. So I think I'm going to vote against this tonight because I think that we need to further consider this policy. So I'll vote against this. Depending what happens, we can either consider it further or it will be passed. It's up to everyone. So.
Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Doherty. Happy to support this one, but I think we just lost a perfect opportunity to improve governance of this council, and also to show some leadership that where there is a significant item of cost to a pre-budgeted approved finances for this council, that we could have deferred it by another 4 weeks to the next ordinary council meeting. We talk about political reasons or playing games. This is an example where that can be played by anyone by next council. As I said, share the echoes of Councillor Kerrison in relation. We could have showed some leadership tonight, some better governance, stronger financial structure, and it wouldn't have hurt just to see a deferral of an item by 4 weeks, giving every one of us the opportunity to touch base with our staff 4 weeks after that one night's notice that we got that may have had a financial significant impact. So I will support this one, but I'm on record tonight thinking that we definitely failed in not strengthening our governance when it comes to our financial structure.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? If there's no other councillor, then Councillor Smuljanek has the right to close if she wishes.
Thank you to all the councillors that spoke with regards to this. I do acknowledge that there was an amendment, and again, I was on side with that. However, noting that we are in a council where we do have a voice and we talk about the restrictive wording of that particular area that talks about should be limited to those closely matters, we've removed that completely now. So on page 47, under the motions without notice, there's 3 paragraphs. That first paragraph now does not exist if this was to be carried. So therefore, it still meets the intent where practicable, motions without notice should be discussed with governance and provided in writing to the presiding member and the minute taker prior to the commencement of the meeting. So, and then it talking about supporting transparency and informed decision making. If there is a councillor bringing a very important discussion where it's going to affect the budget significantly, we're all smart individuals around this table that at the night you hear their reasoning, and it may be required. It may be that they've actually done some staff work. Maybe they have been going on. However, at this particular time, without that motion without notice, they couldn't get in within the certain time parameters. So I take that as councillors listen to your fellow councillor, hear what they have to say before making that decision, and this allows no restrictions for our councillors here if this was to be carried, and future councillors. This policy is reviewed again next year. Have a discussion then should you still be elected. However, at this particular time for the next 12 months, this is not going to restrict us as councillors and future councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smuljanek. We have a motion that's before us, so I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Division's been called by Councillor Halls. The motion is set aside. Those voting for the motion, if they can rise in their place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have more than the 2/3 majority required as per Regulation 6.2, so the item is carried. We then move to item 14.3, Community Engagement Policy Review. Councillor Marsh.
Happy to move. Don't need to speak.
Moved by Councillor Marsh. Does it find a seconder? Councillor Carlson.
Second.
The item's been moved and seconded. Are there any councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Smil-Janik.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to extend my sincere appreciation and thanks to the staff for their hard work and diligence in drafting this proposed policy. With the changes and the new legislative changes. So this is now going to go to public consultation, and I find that this is what we are doing as a council, right? As elected members, we go out there, we go and do that community engagement, and we also rely on the staff to go and research and go find the pockets of people that perhaps we're not quite getting and talking to. So that is one really great thing about this policy. And the second one is, I love that we're continuing to close the loop. It's so important that we ensure that our residents are not just heard, but they're also actively involved in the decision making, and that they're receiving that feedback from the council staff as well. So I'm looking forward to reviewing the feedback from public consultation and considering the final adoption at the next council meeting. Thank you.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, no closing speech. So I will put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. We move to item 14.4, adoption of the 2026-27 annual business plan. Now, councillors, as you'd be aware, as you'd see in your documents, we need to actually populate this with the most recent Valuer General's numbers that we have received. So I'll ask Mr. Colhane if he can briefly just detail those. They'll be up on the screen, which we'll scan through, as we are required now to actually have the dollar figures in the item. So before I call for a mover and seconder for the item, I'll get Mr. Colhane to populate the actual figures. Mr. Colhane.
Through the Mayor, thank you. Councillors, as you'll see in your agenda paper, the committee recommendation that has flowed through has a number of areas highlighted in yellow, which say to be updated in the ordinary council meeting. As the Mayor pointed out, we don't update this information until we receive the final property data from the Valuer Generals. This week we have received that final data set, and in front of you tabled is the updated committee recommendation with those yellow areas highlighted. Areas highlighted in yellow now updated. I might just quickly take you through each of those, because there is also a staff edition, which is item 3.2. That outlines the additional commercial rate revenue we have received since you considered the annual business plan in the Strategy and Services Committee, which you got the numbers there, which is an extra $177,126 in commercial growth revenue, which has increased the operating surplus and the structural surplus to $1.2 million and a ratio of 0.7%. And just a reminder to you all, our target ratio for our structural surplus is 1%, so we're slightly under that still. Items 6, 7 and 9 have been updated with our rates modelling data, which contain the valuations for our council area, our fixed charge and rates in the dollar.
Thank you, Mr. Colhane. Councillor Rentoulis.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the committee recommendation, please.
You'll move the committee recommendation, but for the minute taker, but you're going to move with all the items, the dollars in there? Because
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
With the supplementary material we've just been provided.
Yep.
Thank you. I speak to it. Okay. Just to summarise, I spoke in detail last week in relation to this particular item. Just broadly speaking, with respect to the annual business plan, I think it's a sensible, pragmatic budget, striking the right balance for the funding of existing services and new services and projects. A 3.5% rate rise is fairly modest in this economic climate, but we are the fastest or second fastest growing council in this state, with 10 new people on average making the City of Playford their home each and every day. So obviously growing pains is something that's quite significant, pressing, relevant to this council. With that, last week, you'll recall that we, as a council, unanimously agreed to the inclusion of detailed design for Odgers Road and O'Loughlin Road in Virginia. You'll recall as well that there was no financial implications in relation to the inclusion of that matter with respect to the structural surplus. That remains unchanged, no effect whatsoever. Rate rise obviously is still the same. There are also several other questions that were asked, and one of the pertinent questions was, will this have any impact at all in terms of any other projects? No, this will be put in line concurrently. They will occur at the same time, so no impact at all. The other thing that I think is really important to consider here is that our residents have had their say with respect to Odgers Road and O'Loughlin Road. Petition at the start of the term, various deputations, submissions in the annual business plan, in the What We Heard report, and obviously this item is really important to the residents. It's a safety concern, and they've made the time to be here in the gallery tonight, so I applaud them for being here. So I encourage everyone to support this. Thank you.
So item find a seconder, Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Doherty. Echo my fellow councillor in his comments, and I just want to make a comment in. I think we did some good work with our staff to find an additional $1 million in savings, continuous savings, something that the community expects of us when it comes to our annual business plan, whilst continuously ensuring our renewal targets are being met for our older area. But we have this challenge, and the biggest challenge is growth before us, and we're going to continue to have this challenge for the next 10, 15 years. The concern I have, although I support the 3.5% rate rise, especially with the current financial issues that many are experiencing across the state, is how far our materials and utilities are increasing versus the additional money we are earning, and the additional capital cost to our projects due to the delay in us delivering the required infrastructure across the City of Playford. So for every project that we choose not to deliver and we defer year after year after year, you've just got to add CPI to that total bucket of dollars. And we know for a fact that the funding that we're getting in from growth, this is either this City of Playford or the state government, is not covering the cost of growth here in the City of Playford for either the state government or for the City of Playford to deliver this. When we run rate rises like this, puts another hurdle in our step when our cash flow in our surplus is not as big as we need it, but we also need to respect, we can't keep asking our community to dig deep in their pockets, but I just want to make it clear, growth is going to be a significant issue when we probably also know that the housing supply to the demand of our population is also going to increase. If our housing doesn't increase, it means less growth money coming into the City of Playford as well. So less money coming to us, less money going to the state government under the growth deeds contributions. So challenge for our community, but I think we should continue to deliver this. It's great to see Odgers and O'Loughlin in. Great to see the sports precinct, additional temporary facilities put in there on top of all the other awesome projects that we need to deliver. So I think modest, looking forward to seeing the council deliver this, and I just hope the next council can reach that final 0.2 to get our ratio target back to 1%. So really kudos, and it's even fantastic that we've found some more small additional, but every dollar counts when we need to try and meet our ratio target. Well done, everyone.
Councillor Reefing.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just have a question in relation to renewal works. Are there any delays on the current projects, and will those delays have an impact on the renewal works that have been listed on the annual business plan for next financial year?
Ms Smithson.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the question. There are some road renewal works, Councillor, which will push into next financial year. These are a few roads that are on hold because of adjacent SA waterworks, but beyond that, no, there's no renewal works that are held up.
Do you have any names of those roads?
Yes, they are Peachy Road, Douglas Drive, Morialta Road is on hold due to developer works, not to SA Water, and there is a fourth one I can't remember, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'm supportive of the annual business plan. Again, it's great to see that we are having a modest rate rise this year after some challenges over the past couple of years with significant rate rises, and you know it's a relief probably for our residents. But again, my message to the staff is that we have an opportunity to continue to work hard in terms of not just relying on rate rises to prop up our surplus. City of Playford, one of the fastest growing councils, I think we've got a great opportunity around our commercial sector, and obviously we've got a significant residential growth happening. But I think if we can pull some levers around attracting additional commercial, developments, major commercial developments in our city, to really minimise further significant rate rises in future for our residents. And in relation to the additional item that's been added, Mr Mayor, I think my colleague Councillor Van der Peer moved that motion around Odgers Road to fund the detailed design, which I suggested was a good idea, given that a number of residents from Virginia had come out and gave a deputation. I think, listening to the community, it's very important. It's great to have people come out here and speak and raise their concerns with us. Mr Mayor, you might recall a couple of years ago, I had residents from my ward who came out here, a little girl. She came out, I think she was 12, and gave a deputation around funding public toilets at Dwight Reserve. Unfortunately, Councillor Rentoulis decided to pull the funding for that project. Was at the time a political decision, in my opinion. But again, I'm not going to play that political game here, because I want to support the community. And I think that's really important, because we are here to represent and serve the best interest of our community. And at that time, if you recall, the staff recommendation was to fund those public toilets, because given that we just recently built a new pump track in that facility, a lot of the kids would utilise the toilets and a water fountain. To this day, unfortunately, we haven't been able to fund those that public toilet, which is a missed opportunity, but we have been able to build that pump track and upgraded the playground. But again, my message to the councillors is don't play political games in the chamber, but vote on the stuff that are based on the best interest of our residents. And again, I think as a chamber, we've done exceptionally well over the past 4 years, and credit to our staff for what they've been able to deliver for our community, and especially around leveraging external funding. We've been able to work constructively with federal and state colleagues where we can, and I think if we can continue that momentum and keep pushing for our community and really serve the best interest of our people. Thank you.
Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Let's be completely honest, no one around this table and certainly no one in our community likes a rate rise. A 3.5% increase is an extra bit at a time where household budgets are already stretched to the limit by everyday cost of living pressures. We feel that, we acknowledge that, but as a council, we are facing those exact same economic pressures. To ignore this would be financially irresponsible. It would mean letting our existing assets deteriorate or cutting the core services that our residents rely on daily. Instead, this budget provides financial sustainability while delivering an operating surplus. I want to thank the staff on how the document is communicated to our community. It's actually a really great read. I really appreciate it. And on page 247 in your paperwork in front of you, I want to highlight the proposed capital works with the suburb maps. So as residents, we can have a look at those maps and have a quick overview of the upgrades, the renewals that are happening around suburb by suburb. It provides an excellent visual for everybody and they're clear and concise, so thank you to the staff. I do support this recommendation and I do look forward to seeing what the next financial year has in store for our council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillor wishing to speak? If not, then Councillor Rentoulis, you have the right to close if you wish.
Not much to say other than thank you to this chamber. It looks as though we're going to have unanimous support. Thank you, Councillor Arifi. Thank you, Councillor Van der Peer, for moving something similar to this, that it be considered in the annual business plan. So this is a team effort, and the recipients of us moving this are the entire residents throughout the City of Playford, including those in the gallery. Thank you.
Okay, councillors, we have the motion that's in front of us. As you'd be aware, it's now got the detailed figures, the most up-to-date from the Valuer General, which are from your handout as well. So I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Division's been called by Councillor Halls, so the motion is set aside. Those voting for the item, or the motion, they can rise in their place. And for the ease of the minute taker, that is all members voting for. So the motion is carried. We then move to item 14.5, adoption of the 26-27 long-term financial plan. Councillor Baker.
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Baker. Does the item find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Marshall.
Happy to second it.
Presuming the move and seconder aren't wishing to speak. Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Smiljanic.
Hi there. Thank you, Mr Mayor. This document fulfils our duty under the Local Government Act and provides information on how the council plans to secure Playford's future. It operates on a disciplined business-as-usual model while providing everyday services our community relies and while addressing the cost of living pressures. By balancing the infrastructure delivery with a fully funded asset renewal program, we maintain intergenerational equity. This means ensuring the growth of today does not become an unfair financial burden on tomorrow's ratepayers. Well done to the staff for preparing an easy-to-read document.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors wishing to speak? As the mover and seconder didn't speak, and there's no other speakers, I will put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. We then move on to item 14.6, the adoption of the 26-27 Strategic Asset Management Plan. Councillor Smiljanec.
Thank you, Mayor. I support the adoption of the committee recommendation. And I just want to bring forward page 417. So I particularly appreciate this chapter of the policy, this strategic AMP. It talks about our assets, and if you go to the next page, 419, we've got the coloured image of the geographic information system that allows us to allows our council staff to visually have a look over our city, and for us to have a picture like that in our document allows us to have an appreciation of what our council staff use for their decision making. A perfect example of this planning and also listening to our community needs is the inclusion of Ironbark Avenue in Craigmore and the other areas in Playford after the What We Heard report. I want to thank the council staff for listening to our community and ensuring that these upgrades were prioritised and added in.
Does the item find a seconder? Councillor Reefy.
Yes, Mr Mayor, don't need to speak.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Division's been called by Councillor Halls. The motion is set aside. Those voting for the motion, if they can rise in their place. And for the ease of the minute taker, who's had a very easy night tonight, the minute taker, that's all members voting for the motion. The motion is carried. We move on to item 15, staff reports, which are nil. Item 16, information discussion, which is nil. Item 17, confidential matters, which are nil. We'll go to the closure of the meeting, and I'll close the meeting at 20 minutes past 8. And thank you all for your attendance.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are